Hello there, it's Jan here from JB Crafts, and I'm back today with project number 4 for my 12 Days of Christmas series for this year. So we're going to do two tutorials a week right up to Christmas. We've already had the first 3 and you've been loving what I've done. So thank you very much for your input, your comments, your likes, your subscribes. It means a lot, I must admit, and obviously, you know, allows me to sort of, well, encourages me to keep going with the channel. So yeah, project number 4 today, and I've made a set of gift tags today. So these are something that I hope, you know, that I'll be able to use at Christmas. It's something that I like to make at this time of year rather than buying. I do buy some tags, you know, for the smaller presents, but I normally have a main gift for people at Christmas, and I like to sort of make my own tags. So just got a set of 3, all the same style today, just to give you some ideas, using again things that you already have in your stash. You know, that's the ethos of the channel here at JB Crafts. I want you to dig through your stash and see what you've got. You know, you may not have exactly the same as me, but you may have something similar. So I've used my favourite tag dies. I've used these a lot. These have appeared before in my videos, and these are a Creative Expressions die set called Shabby Basics. They're the tattered tags, and they've got like a decal edge finish on them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes. I've not used the largest one. I have used that one in past tutorials, but I went for the second largest today to create my tag. So you can see there we've got that sort of size going, which is a nice size so that you can write on the back. So these are approximately just over 4.5 inches tall by just over 2.25 inches wide. So that was the size that I chose, and I've cut tags out of plain white cardstock. So I've cut my next set. We're going to do 3 on camera today, and we're going to do what's either batch making or compartmental crafting, so a series of repetition in the makes today. So I've got my tags ready. You can see how that's cut from that die there. Run those through that machine, and I've got my 3 tags at the ready. So that's the die for the tags. Let's pop those to one side for a second. And then I've built up different elements on there. So we've actually got some stamping in the background using some Distress Oxide ink. And I've used a slightly darker shade for the die cut, the tree. And then I've got a little snowbank that I've cut to go at the bottom. And this was sort of an afterthought, because when I created it, I'd got a gap here. I thought it needs something to just link it together and bring the red together as well. Because I used a twine in this one that had the red and the green in, I wanted to introduce that red. So I've got the little bow, I've got the berries on the holly, and then just a few little red gems. So really nice and simple. And then I've just used one of my stamp sets to stamp on the back the to and from, and these are all good to go then on gifts ready for Christmas. So I'm going to show you how I made them, but we're going to do a different colorway today. So this is more of a traditional color scheme. I'm going to go with a contemporary color scheme. We're going to bring in some lilacs and purples today to go with the greens. So let's pop those to one side. That's the set that we've already made. So those can go up in that corner there. And I'm going to bring in some of the detail for today. So like I said, I've got my 3 tags cut ready. And then I've used one of my rectangle nesting dies. I just fetch these out. I use these quite a lot. These are a Crafter's Companion set that start with a 5x7 and then work the way down. And I think it was, if I remember rightly, it was 1, 2, 3, the 4th one from the top, from the middle. If you have this set, just fit this gap nicely on the tag, you can see there. So I've actually cut panels of that plain, again, smooth white cardstock with the die, and I'm going to layer that one on top of the tag itself. So we're just going to pop those 3 to one side for a second, and then I want to add some stamping to this. So again, I had a look through the stash. I wanted a text stamp, and this is a really old one from a Sarah signature collection at Crafter's Companion. It was called Scandinavian Christmas, and I'm probably going back 7 or 8 years here. So again, some of you may have it in your stash, but again, you know, script stamps is something that a lot of us have, and it can be any script, but this is the one that I chose. It's just random italic script, and this is what I wanted to use to stamp with. So I've actually got that in my stamping positioner already, and I'm going to show you how I got these to that stage. So we'll pop that die to one side with the rest of the tags, and I want to do this part here. So what I'm going to do is I want to just make sure that the text is straight on here, and usually I would make sure that my piece of cardstock goes into that bottom corner here in the stamping positioner, but obviously the stamp is bigger than the piece of card. So what I'm actually going to do is pop a little bit of my dotty tape runner on the back, which rubs off nice and easy if we need to, and then I'm actually going to position this face down. Let's just make sure I've got it the right way. Have I put the dots? I've put the dots on the wrong side, you Nelly. Right, let me just get rid of those, because that's the side we want to stamp on. I thought I'd turned it over and then didn't. So you can see it just rubs away there. But yeah, just looking at where the die's made the impression, that's the reverse. So you want the dots on the reverse of it. Okay, if you don't have a die, you can just cut these to size with your trimmer or your guillotine, and they measure 4 by 2 inches. And then again, with that dot facing up, I'm going to place this on my stamp set to make sure that the text is running nice and straight. And then close the other side of it, give it a press, and I've got that in the right place then. Okay, on my piece of card. And I've got a piece of scrap paper in here, because the stamp's going to stamp over the edge of it. I've just got a piece of scrap paper in here. Just get sure everything's lined up. Got the magnet to hold that in place, and we've now got this good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my shaded lilac this time. The colours that I used on the first tag were ice spruce, which is in the background there. Okay, and this is the oxide inks, and then I'm going to show you how I've coloured the tree. I chose Rustic Wilderness, which was just a little bit darker. You can see that we've got 2 different shades of green going on there for that one. Now this time I'm going to bring in a couple of my lilacs, and I chose to go with shaded lilac and then dusty concord. So again, you can see we've got the 2 different shades of purple. So we're going to do the background in the lighter one and the actual tree in the darker one. So I need the light one first. I am going to pop ink, let me just move that tag out of the way, straight down the middle, because I only need that panel down the middle of here. And I don't want this to be too dark. So what I'm going to do is grab a piece of kitchen paper, pop that over here, and I just want to take off that first generation of ink, because my pads are quite juicy. You can see there we've got that print on there, and then I'm going to stamp it with the second generation. So I just want a nice pale image of the text. So I'm going to use that pressure tool just to transfer that ink onto my little cutout piece of cardstock, and you can see we've just got that little bit of definition there in the background. I'm not too worried about the bottom, because we're going to cover that up with the little snowbank. So that's all I want to do on there, and because these are water based, I can then just give my stamp a little bit of a spritz, and all I do is just clean it off with my cloth. Okay, I'm going to leave that in there for now, and then I can sort that out afterwards, and then we can just release this one out of the platform there. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my craft mat just to work on here, because I want to add some ink around the edges of this. So I'm going to use the same colour. I've got that shaded lilac, I've got my finger dauber here at the ready, and I just want to go round the edge of it to create that little border and just draw the eye towards the middle there. So just very lightly, just darkening that edge. If you don't have the finger daubers, you can use an ordinary sponge applicator or the brushes. I just find those little finger daubers are ideal for a smaller space. So that's my panel finished. Okay, we'll just give that a little bit of a clean off there. And then you want to create 3 of these. So I've done this 2 more times, exactly the same. And you can see we've now got our 3 panels. So this is what I mean by batch making or compartmental making. You're going to do, it's easier and quicker. And I did talk about this, if any of you that have watched my last tutorial where we made the advent calendar, it's quicker when you're batch making to do things in sets. So if I die cut one tag, then did my stamping, then built it up and stuck it all together, and then started the next tag, it would take a lot longer than doing it in this batch order. So I've cut all the tags, I cut all my rectangles with the die, then I've done all the stamping, then I did all the edging, and we've got that set ready to go now. So I'm just going to take those off the back of there so that they don't stick together, because I'm going to pop these to one side now. Okay, so we've got our next set, that's the background. Then I want to do my die cut trees. So this is actually one out of my stash. Again, any tree die that you've got will work for this. And I've die cut my tree. Everything was cut out of smooth white cardstock. And I've just passed this through my die cutting machine. You can see here, we've got that die cut here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the paper underneath it just to help catch some of the ink. I'm going to apply my ink direct to the die cut. Now you can do this with a brush, you can do it with your little dauber, but I wanted a little bit more irregular look. I didn't want it to be a smooth colour. And I'm going to swap to that darker ink, which was my Dusty Concord, and I'm literally just going to smoosh this on. So for the first instance, I am just going to take it over the whole thing, and then when we've got a reasonably good coverage, I'm going to move that piece out of the way, and then just make sure that I've got, you know, you can smoosh it over the top, but the idea is that I don't want a solid colour, so it's knowing when to step away from it. And then if I just grab my tweezers, you can see now, if I bring that up to the camera, there is still some white showing, and that's what I wanted. I wanted that kind of distressed look. I didn't want it to be a solid. If you want it to be a solid colour, you can cut it out of a piece of coloured cardstock, or you can colour your cardstock first with the ink and then die cut. But I wanted that kind of random effect on it. And then again, I've done that 3 times, so you can see that the ink does dry back a little bit lighter. It's the same ink, but these are dry now. Okay, so we've got our 3 trees at the ready. So far we've done the background tag, we've done the stamping for the background, and we've done our trees. So next I'm going to do the little snow bank at the bottom. So again, I'm going to put these to one side. The one that's still to dry I'll put up there for a second. And my little snow bank, all I've done with that is I've just partially die cut from that tag die. If I just grab that back a second, put it back. Yeah, I popped it back in the die set. There we go. Yeah, I've just partially cut. That's not the right one. There we go. So I've got scraps of card, and I've just put them at the bottom here because I don't need the whole tag. It would just be wasting. So these are just scraps that I've picked up. And what I'm going to do with my scissors is from one side to the other, I'm just going to freestyle this. I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm just going to go round and almost make like a sort of an S kind of shape. You can see we've got the beginnings of that. Now you can keep this half if you wish, but this is the piece that I want here. Okay, so this is going to be the little snowbank that fits across the bottom. Now they're all going to be slightly different, but you've got the same theme going on here. And then I wanted to add some detail to this. Now I'm going to keep this white, but I want to add a little bit of stamping on here, and I've still got the stamps on my block here. This was the to and from, and I've stamped the reverse of my tags ready so that they are dry because I've used a black pigment ink. So I've just used my block to stamp the to and from and let those dry. So I've done that in succession as well. And then I've got my little holly stamp on here. So I'm going to use my dark Nocturne ink again and just ink up that little holly stamp. It's just a little embellishment stamp, and place that straight down onto that shape that we've just cut. Let the ink transfer, and then I'm going to turn it and do one this way as well. So just as if they were sat together, giving it time for that ink to transfer, and then lift that away. Okay, so that's that one sorted. So we can pop that to one side. Pop the lid back on there so that I don't end up with my fingers in it. And then I would normally leave these to dry a little bit longer, but because my pigment ink does stay wet for a bit longer, and it is a, you know, it's a sort of the ink sits on top here, I didn't want to use my alcohol marker, so I've just been through my crayons and found just a green that suited, that fit in with what I was doing. And very, very lightly, I'm just going to pop a little bit of colour into that holly, just so that it blends. And I tried the greens that I'd got in my tin and chose one that was sort of close to the rest of the design there. And then just a little bit more depth in the bottom. Same on this side. So it was sort of a case of filling that little space in just, and again, these little stamps are ideal for just filling that little bit that you think just needs a touch of something in there. So that's my holly. And then on this one, I chose the red. I did a little bit of red sparkle pen just to colour the berries in, but because we're changing the colour scheme on this one, I've gone with the purple one. So yeah, it's artistic license. My holly is going to have dark purple berries. And we've got that good to go. And again, we're going to need 3 of these, so I've already done, and you can see, you know, that they're a slight different shape, but I'm okay with that, not too worried about that. All right, so we can start and build. So I'm going to put the trees together, the rectangles together, bring my tags in now, and we're going to start and build some of the detail before we put anything else on. So we've got our 3 tags at the ready. I am going to use my collal glue for the background, because we're literally just going cardstock to cardstock. You know that this one's my favourite glue. So I'm going to take one of the panels, add the glue behind, and then we're going to secure these onto the tags. Okay, so there's just enough room for that to sit. And I want to concentrate on the sides being even. I'm not worried about this because the little snowbank is going to go right across the bottom. So as long as I've got a nice, even, straight piece at either side, we're good to go. Then I'm going to do the next one. And this by far is the quickest way if you're wanting to make, you know, multiples of an item, whether it be a card, you know, whether it's a project. In this case, we're doing the little tags. And again, you know, just get them so that you've got that nice positioning at either side. It's a little bit like sort of doing the, you know, the conveyor belt. It's like, let's do all this bit first, then we'll do the next bit, and then we'll do the next bit, till you've got all your stages complete. So again, that one, and by using the wet glue, I've got time to just wriggle that into position, and we've got those good to go. And then I'm going to flip over to my acrylic glue, just because it's got the fine applicator in, and again, I'm going to be sticking over the ink this time. So the first thing that I'm going to do is add the bases, and yes, you can add foam tape in here if you wish. I didn't. I just kept most, well, it is all flat on mine. And I'm going to line these up, because we cut them with that same die, they are going to match up perfectly the bottom section of your tag there. So you've got all lined up, and you've still got that lovely decal edge detail at the bottom. And then we'll do the second one. it may be, you know, that you want to do these and package them up if you do craft fairs and things like that. The tags are usually a good option for selling. Everybody uses Christmas tags. There we go. So that one's lined up. I've got a little bit of something on that one. I'm not sure what. But I'm just going to try my trusty glue eraser. That usually gets most things off. But we're going to put the tree on there anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. And then we've got that third one. Just be careful with that one to make sure that the glitter pen has dried. I don't want to smudge it. And then this one's going to go again across the bottom, lined up with the bottom of the tag, and that just fits in there perfectly. Okay, pop that down a little bit there. And that's the beauty of having the wet glue there. You can just wriggle them into place. And then in the die set for the tags, you also get the little ring reinforcers, and you get two different styles. You get two sizes, and you get a plain one and you get the decal edge one. So I've just used the plain one and cut 3 of my ring reinforcers. So we're going to pop those on next, again doing the same, you know, sort of tripling everything. So I'm just going to bring my tweezers in now so that I can hold them a little bit easier, and just a few little dabs of glue on there, and then these can just go to strengthen that hole at the top there, so that when we put the twine through, it's not going to put too much stress on just a single layer of cardstock. So again, little tiny dabs of glue and line those up. Now if you don't have a die set that has these in, you can buy from the stationery section in stores, you can buy the little peel off ring reinforcers that I've used when I've been doing you know, written work. So mine are, I've had these for ages, from WH Smith's. So you get these on here. These will work as well. As I say, it's just a case of strengthening that area where the twine is going to go so that it doesn't create a problem. And then the next thing we're going to do is add our trees on that one side. So again, I'm going to stay with that adhesive. My acrylic glue is a quick grab, and it dries quicker than the all-purpose glue. So if it's embellishments, I often refer to it as embellishment glue, because anything, you know, that's classed as an embellishment, I find that fine tip applicator is much easier. And again, just add little bits of glue on the back, and then I've always got my cloth handy. Just tap off any excess there, and then again we're going to pop these, got a tiny little bit off the edge, and then just making sure that that upright central part is nice and straight. And then I've got the wax paper there, just so that I can give it a good press, and that glue's not going to be a problem. So that's number 1. And we're going to do the same again. So as I say, just little bits of glue here and there so that it's anchored. I'm going to the edges of the die cut so that it's not going to lift at the edges. And where you've got a little bit wider bit of card, you can add just those dabs, enough to secure it, and so that it doesn't squidge out. It's just a habit that I've got into, of just tapping off any excess, and then we're going to go the same again. So again, we're just going to line it up, making sure that that upright part of the tree is straight. Give it a press, and you can see now what I mean about the batch making. And then that other one should be dry enough to work with now. So last one, same treatment, and this is where that fine tip applicator comes in really handy. As I say, just catching the edges of the die cut in places where I want it to be secure. And then we can pop that last one in place as well. So that one's going to go like so. And then again, just give it a nice press down. It's still a little bit damp, that one, I can tell, because the ink's still a wee bit darker than the other two, but it's good enough to work with. It's not coming off the ink. So we've got that stage complete then. And then I'm going to add my twine. I've cut 3 lengths of twine, and instead of going for the red and white, the red and green and white this time, I've just gone for green and white. I have got lilac, but I thought the green and white was a little bit more festive, and I've just cut 3 lengths, and we're going to pop this together. I like to feed it through from the back and then just transfer the ends through that hoop like so, and then I'm going to pop a knot to secure it at this end. She says, do you know? There we go. Like so. So that's bringing in that green again, which is why I went for the green with the holly there at the bottom. And then I'm going to add the second one. You can see now where that reinforcer sort of comes into play. And pop the knot in that one. Do you know, my twine is being very pesky today. It always is the same when you get live on air. It's you can do it easily in your own craft room, and then when you come to start filming something, it decides it's going to be a nuisance. So let's get the tweezers in there and I'll be able to master that. There we go. So that's the second one, and then the same again. So each process times, you know, you might be wanting to make sets of a half a dozen of these, so you know it would be exactly the same. Just get everything ready and do that 3 times or 6 times or however many you're wanting to make, and then do each section as you go along. So again, I'm going to use the tweezers because they are much more friendly than my fingers. There we go. And then I'm just going to trim out, oops, don't need you today, trim out any of those tatty edges now, so that we've got a nice finish on that twine. And then that last one, and then we've got that step ready. So we're looking pretty good. And then I wanted to add some more green in there, so I've got some tiny little bow dies, you can see there, and I'm just going to pop that in green. So this is where the red came in last time. When I got the twine in place, I thought, right, I've got a lot of green going on in here, and that's where this emerged from, so that I could pop some red in. I added the red bow and then pop the red gems on. This time I'm going to do the green. So I've cut my little bows using that die out of just some green scrap cardstock out of my little scrap box. Scrap packet, and again just a few little tiny drops on there, and I want to just pop this underneath. So I'm going to stick it to the top of the ring reinforcer there, rather than putting it over the actual twine itself. So that's number 1, and then we're going to do the same. And it's quite therapeutic actually, you know, you've got that sort of peace of mind in knowing that, right, I've got everything ready, and now I'm just going to take it in order and do each step multiplied by the number of, you know, items. So if you're doing the 3, or as I say, if you want to do 6 of something, and it is, as I say, I find it quite therapeutic. So this one's going to go on here, and just give that a little press. So that's that stage complete. And then I wanted a sentiment on here, so again I've just used a little tiny Merry Christmas sentiment, stamped it out, and then just gone round the edge of it with my finger dauber again with that lilac ink. And we're going to do this on each one as well. So again, stay with that quick grab glue there, and I want to pop these. I can use the text to get it reasonably well lined up, and then I just want it to pop out slightly into that margin space because it will highlight it a little bit as to, you know, the shape in there. There we go. Same again, like so. So I'm just going to make sure that they're all roughly at the same height. Use that text, as I say, the script underneath, just to try and get them straight. And then we're going to do this one. Like so. So again, this one's going to be under there, just popping out into the edge like that. And then this time, I am actually going to put the green. So this one, I picked the extra colour for the gems, so that we've not got green on green or lilac on lilac. So I'm going to go with the green this time. And I've got a massive card with the gems on there, so we'll take those out, and I'm going to use the darker green. I don't think the light will show up as much, and I'm just going to follow that same pattern with one underneath and two on top. So we're going to take the dark green. I'm going to use the mid-sized one underneath, and then two of the little tinies to bring it all together like so. Stay there. Now we've got the gems misbehaving. They want to go on there, that's it. That's better. And then we're going to go for one here. And we're going to do the same again. So we're going to go with two of the littlies at the top. And then the slightly bigger one at the bottom. And then just because we can, I'm going to see what it looks like. Because I've got a set of darker purple gems, I'm going to go rogue a little bit here. The original ones all had the same red on, but I think we'll try that darker purple because I think it's actually going to look quite nice against there. So I've got the medium size one. These are trying to escape, so we'll use these ones, and I think that would actually look quite nice. And then two of the little ones again. So again, have a play around and see what you fancy, what you've got in your stash. As I say, use that stash. Same there. So actually I quite like the purple on there, that's quite nice. So those can go back to one side. And we've got our three versions of the original tags there finished. So that's the lilac version. And then we've got the green version that I did originally. So pop in the comments, which is your favourite. Do you like the traditional colours? Do you like the more contemporary colours? Are you going to have a go at it as a project? And then just before I finished with it, I thought, do you know what? We will actually, I'm not going to demo this. I'm not going to do a tutorial for it, but I did actually have a look at, again, just one of my little cards. This is just a little, I think it was a 5-inch square. Yeah, just out of the stash. And I've had a look through my papers and picked out a lilac paper to match this pattern. And then I went with the green text and the tree to match this one. Changed the sentiment out slightly. Instead of, because this had the tag, the twine in for the tag, I've just used it behind my sentiment as a hint, towards the tags. And then obviously the bow wasn't really appropriate. I've done the snowbank the same, but instead of the bow, I've just gone with a little star at the top so that we've got that element at the top there. So it was sort of translating the tag design into a card as well, so you could actually make these as gift sets if you wanted to. And then I've just popped a nice little sentiment and stamped a couple of those holly leaves again inside, round the edge of it with the lilac. So we've got that mixture of the green and the lilac with both of them. And you could package all this up as an actual gift, or as I say, if you were doing the craft fairs and things, You know, these would be nice. Got a little bit of rogue bit in there. No, not to worry. Now my die set for the trees has got two different sizes in. It's a pack of two that I've had for a while, so I use the smaller one on the tags, and then this one's slightly bigger. It's not a lot of difference if I put them side by side, but I just felt for the card it's a little bit wider, a little bit more of it, gave me that little bit more substance for the card. So yeah, I've just sort of gone with both of them. But if you've only got the one die and you wanted to do the card, you could create it there as well. So that's my tutorial for today with the Christmas gift tags. If you've enjoyed that one, consider giving it a thumbs up for me. I would love your subscription if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and I will be back with another tutorial very soon. This was number 4 in the series. We'll be back. I've got a really nice concept card for the next one that I'm in the middle of making currently, ready for the next tutorial, and that'll be number 5. So number 4 today, and I'll be back very soon with number 5 in the next tutorial. So take care now. Bye bye.